I'm Kat, an independent midwife from Wales. Welcome to the Mother of All podcasts, where nothing is off the table of discussion. If it leaks, cries, swears, screams, goes up but doesn't stay up, we're talking about it. Time to get raw and real. Your no BS guide to pregnancy, preconception, birth, adolescence, wet dreams, wet in the bed, coming home pissed. Who knows? Whatever. We're just going to talk about it. Life in parenting doesn't come with a manual. Well, not a decent one anyway. So let's just create a podcast. Welcome to the Mother of All podcasts. I don't even know where that comes from.
That's good. That's good.
That's not even in it.
That's good.
Welcome to Mother of All podcast. Today I have on an amazing woman who, well, I'll let you introduce yourself first and then we will tell you her story. Over to you.
Hiya, I'm Shelley and I had a beautiful HVAC last year after a long fight with the NHS. Sorry if I'm talking funny, I've just been to the dentist this morning, so I'm still a bit numb. But yeah, and my little boy's just turned 1 yesterday, so all the feelings and all the emotions are right back at the forefront of my mind.
So I met Shelley probably a year and 2 weeks ago. No, a year and a week.
Yeah.
Basically, I'll just do a quick recap of how I know you. So I'm an independent midwife and there was an SOS on our WhatsApp group for someone to support a lady in Sunderland. Yes,
Yep.
A lady in Sunderland have a HBAC, home birth after cesarean, that the ICB, the NHS, were going to commission and pay for an independent midwife to look after. That's the short story. So I seen the WhatsApp message and I live in Wales, in Cardiff. It probably would have took me 7 hours in a car. And I thought, oh, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm not on call. I love a challenge. I'm up for it. So less than 48 hours later, I arrived in Sunderland to, well, try and support you have your birth of dreams. So there's so much more to it than that. So the NHS pulled their home birth service. How many weeks pregnant were you when that happened?
So I was about 12, just over 12 weeks pregnant. So when I first found out I was pregnant,
Yeah.
it was running. And then just after I'd had my first booking in midwife appointment, it was pulled.
And did you ask the community midwife, like, did you say you knew you wanted a home birth that early on in pregnancy? Did you ask her like how long it would be till it was back on?
Well, I was part of the maternity voices, so I know it was all in talks. I knew that
Okay.
they were talking about, they were trying to get it up and running by September time. I was due in November, so I was like, right, so we've got a bit of a buffer period. Fingers crossed, but the further my pregnancy went on, obviously things delayed, changed, and yeah, so that's when I started to get me fire in my little belly.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
So how many weeks were you, so who did you contact first? So when you kind of thought, yeah, it's not going to open and I'm having this home birth come hook or high water, where did you go? What did you do?
So I think my first port of call, I'd went to Birthright and said,
Yeah.
it's not going to be open. What are your suggestions? Where do I go? What sort of template? Can you help write up an email? Give us a couple of pointers. And I started by emailing the head of midwifery, which unfortunately I didn't get a response from her, but I did get a response from the consultant midwife.
How long till you got your response?
You probably look, maybe it's about a week or something like that.
And how many weeks pregnant were you?
So that was in the August, about the August time.
Like 30 weeks?
I probably got halfway through my pregnancy about then, I think.
And a week then, like waiting for a reply is like forever. Every day you probably were just like, you know, what's next? What was the reply?
So there was, hold on, let us reverse back. yeah, I'd met with her about the no possibility of having like a home birth. You know, the hospital's beautiful, we'll get you used to the hospital, you can come and visit, blah, blah, blah. And that's when like I'm not happy. I knew from doing a lot of research, obviously I wanted my home birth, I'd done a lot of research before I'd got to that point. And I knew from other trusts that they were doing independent midwives. I knew that other trusts in the area, they had home birth services running.
Mm-hmm.
So I was putting these questions like, can your midwives go on call, and can another home birth team in the area, can they cover me?
Yeah.
Will you commission an independent midwife? No. And then that's when I started to take it further and email pals. I directed it to the CEO, but someone else came back to us on his behalf, and I was like, no, we can't do that. Home birth services won't cover because you're not in the area. We don't do anything within the private sector at the NHS. I thought, well, you know, that's not entirely true. But by this point, like, time was getting on, and where was I now? I was in September. And I think I'd sort of just sat on it for a little bit when they'd come back to us again saying no from a formal complaint through the hospital. And I'd waited until October and my daughter's birthday had died down, and I went, I'm not having it, because like, I know that you can, and you can do it, you're just not. And the letter that come back to us, you know, we're committed to providing women with a choice, and my choice was the hospital.
Yeah, there wasn't any other choice for you.
No. So my little fire in my little belly kept on going, and I was like, I'm not having it. I'm going to try again. I'm going to go back to them again. So I went back again, as you can't close my complaint. The complaint's not, you know, it's not being dealt with. I'd been speaking to the home birth community, and someone had suggested there's a chief midwife of the Northeast, and I was like, right, okay, so where do I find her information? So late at night, I'm scrolling, I'm looking at documents, and I'm trying to find a contact for her. And I found like some document from years ago, and I was like, here's an email address. I'll give it a go. I'll just give it a shot. So I went back, I complained, don't close me complaint. I know this is what you can do. I know you can support us. Copied in this chief midwife, and I must have sent this email at like 10 o'clock at night. Sorry.
How many weeks pregnant were you then?
So at that point, I would have been at least 30, 32 maybe.
Yeah.
So I copied her in 10 o'clock at night off my email, when after I checked, made sure it was all, no spelling mistakes, I'd backed myself up, I was concise, this is what I want, this is what I know you can do, straight to the point. And then by midday the next day, she'd got back to us, the chief midwife, and was like, let us look into this. And then I looked at the email and I was like, God, just copied all these people in, like, what? I didn't expect her to get back to us, and it was like, wow.
Sorry, was it Trey? Yeah, she's a legend. Yeah.
And I was like, there was like tingles all over, and I was like, oh, something could be happening. There could be motion here. And then I had weeks, what felt like forever, of waiting, and me come back. Like, I haven't heard anything, and had a couple of conversations with Tracy, and just nothing was getting moved forward. And the consultant midwife was absolutely lovely at the hospital, and she was trying her best to accommodate us, and obviously she couldn't make any decisions. And she was lovely, and she helped us go through a birth plan. But I knew where I wanted to be. I did a lot of research, and I needed to be safe. I needed to be surrounded, and I needed to be where I felt safe.
So the chief midwife, Tracy, she engaged with you straight away, obviously. when you were waiting for an answer, was that engagement, was that communication, was it still as fluid? Was it back and forth, or were you literally not having any answers to your emails for like weeks on end?
So I'd had only with Tracy a couple of check-ins that, yeah, we're still trying to do something in the background from the hospital. Apart from the conversations with the consultant midwife about this is what we'll honour if you come into hospital, there was nothing like, I didn't know what was going on in the background. I didn't know what talks they were having, if it was just being shut down, if they were going, yes, we're trying. I just didn't know. So as I was nearing, I was getting like 38 weeks now, and I was like, right, I'm going to start pushing, because you know what I want. You've got me complaint. You've been sitting on it. Like, nobody's communicating with us. Nobody's coming back to us. And so I was pushing the hospital a bit to be like, you know,
answer me.
Yeah. And it wasn't until I was dot on 39 weeks where I got a phone call. And I was just like,
well, you didn't
blew my mind.
You didn't believe it at first. Like, unbeknown to you, obviously in the background, Tracy and her band of berry men. I love them. I think that what they did was just superb, because it doesn't stop at her. Like, she was having to go above and beyond above. But when I messaged her to say, oh, fuck it, I'll do it. Well, she messaged me, rang me at like 7 a.m. I was in the gym, and this is a chief of midwifery. And I think people have, I mean, I don't help because I always say the suits, they're not doing enough. But she genuinely was like elated, like so excited. And yeah, and I mean, obviously we'll go into how supportive they were when I flew over. But just go back to your pregnancy, because it's really difficult, because there's a trust in Gloucestershire. That's why I wanted you to come on, that have just pulled their home birth service. And then obviously it happened in Wales so many times before, and women, they just don't know how to do it. And I'm like, it can be done. You can commission an independent midwife. You can get the NHS to do it. There are women out there that have done it, but some of them are just like, I want to concentrate on my birth. And I get it completely. So what was it like for you going through pregnancy, literally from 12 weeks, knowing how much you wanted a home birth, but it was a continuous fight? I mean, it sounded like you semi gave up halfway through until your daughter's birthday, where obviously all her birth came back and you're like, no, I have to have a baby at home. Where did it come from, like the strength to continue that when you're trying to get ready for birth?
From finding out I was pregnant, I was like, yes, I want a vaginal birth, because my first was a section, planned section, completely,
positive. Yeah.
But I'd had no idea. I mean, that was took under my feet slightly.
Yeah.
And I suppose I wasn't well researched at that time. So come to my second pregnancy, yeah, absolutely, I want a vaginal. And then obviously you start diving into, the nice guidelines and all the recommendations, the evidence, and then it's like, right, okay, so a home birth. And then that's when I was like, right, yes, that's where I'm going to be safe. That's where I'm going to feel most comfortable. So it's hard, because I look back now and I feel like I've got no idea what my pregnancy was like, because it was all consumed by a big fight to be supported at my birth. And
you feel sad?
Yeah. And although I was in tune with my body, I feel a bit of guilt that I didn't enjoy it as much as I could have, because I was so focused on being supported where I felt was best.
Give yourself a bit of grace, because losing your time in pregnancy allowed you to provide the rite of passage for your son to be born how he was meant to. So, had a little lump in my throat then. And that's basically what you did. You fought for him to be born the way that he should have been born. So don't be hard on yourself. But I wanted you to talk about it, because I know how it affected you.
Mm.
So I can totally understand when there's women out there who are just like,
Yeah,
don't, I want to focus on the birth, and if I have to go to hospital, I'll go to hospital, because they just don't have the energy. But it's so worth it.
it is 100%. It feels like my pregnancy was stolen, but I got the best outcome that I could have ever asked for.
Were you like when you got that phone call and we had a Zoom, me, you, and Deb? Deb was my second midwife, independent midwife of the North. Just a little link there. She's lush. Who had a full caseload, so couldn't take Shelley, so she became my second midwife. When we had a Zoom together, I still don't think you believed it, because you were just.
So she'd messaged us the night. She'd messaged us the night before, and I was like, "Oh, what? And then I went to bed, and I was like, I can't pin all my hopes on this right now, because it's not 100%. It's not confirmed. I mean, it probably was in the background, but to me, Tracy hadn't confirmed it to us, the chief midwife of the North, and I didn't want to get my hopes up. And then next morning comes around. I don't even know how I slept. I've got no idea how I slept that night. And then 8 o'clock comes around the next morning, and I'm making breakfast for my child to go to school, and Tracy rings, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And I just didn't know. And then I take her to school, and I come back, and then I'm on a Zoom with like 2 midwives who were there to support us. And I just, like, I can't believe it. I can't believe that I've got this far, and then I'm sitting there, and then I still don't think that it's sunk in until I actually met both of you.
Yeah. So I could only be out there for a certain amount of time, obviously, which is the only thing that made me think, oh, maybe I shouldn't go, because I was like, if she doesn't have a baby in this time frame, it's about 2 weeks I allowed myself. If she doesn't have a baby in this time frame, I'm going to let her down. I don't know. Did you know that?
Think so.
Okay.
I think, but I don't think it's that quick sunk in. I just think you were here, and that's all that mattered in that moment.
And then, so 48 hours I arrived, and I met with you the next day. But prior to that, in the night, you had blood results come back to say that your bile acids and LFTs were raised, and it was cholestasis. And I think you thought that I wouldn't look after you at home with that. And the trust were very much, oh, well, she's going to have to come in now anyway. But again, Tracy to the rescue. I was like, well, I'm an independent midwife. It's really hard, because they had commissioned me. It was hard to think as Kat, independent midwife, when the NHS had commissioned me to look after you. So I had to like switch that off. And I was like, well, no, of course she can stay at home. I'd look after anyone at home if they were aware of the risks. So even though you know, I was there, we had another wall that you had to mentally knock down, because obviously you had to have the phone call with a consultant to say, you know, all the scary risks and things like that, which plants a seed. Did you think it might not go ahead then?
Yeah, so like, I was like, you've just got here, and now everything's been blown out of the water. Like, what am I going to do? So I just needed to step back and go, right, okay, so I've spent all this time in pregnancy researching what's best. So now I'm going to do it again.
Yep.
Now what is the best? This is what I'm faced with. What is the best? You know, where are all of the stats? Because you don't find much about the ICP, the diagnosis.
No, you don't.
There's 39 weeks. Like, everybody's given birth by then.
Yeah, they have, because they get induced.
So I couldn't find anything, and I really struggled with that part of it.
Well, I think we both did, because I was in communication with a consultant midwife and the consultant, and I was like, Shelley doesn't want to speak to anyone. She just needs to stay in her bubble. She gave me consent to talk on her behalf. But it's basically what you're saying is, if she declines induction, I hate that word, if she decides against induction, there's nothing else you can offer her. And that's what we kept going back with, wasn't it? It's like, so their guidance is induction of labor, but you don't want that. So what else can they offer? And they didn't know, because they'd never been in a position where a woman had actually said, hang on a minute, I don't want that. What's my next option? And there wasn't one. So, well, there was me, I was there. So we decided to like have daily check-ins and things like that. And I remember the first time I met you, you were 100% having contractions. It's like your body had just relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
We're very much peaking and flowing and up in and down in, and yeah. And how many days was I there before before you birthed? Was it 4?
You come up on the Friday night and I didn't see you until the Saturday morning.
Yeah.
But that's when I started having my contractions on the Saturday morning.
Yeah.
They tailored off, then they started again on Sunday, they tailored off. And then Monday I laboured all day and I just went in on myself, and I absolutely did not chase that labour. I just honed in on myself, and I hid, and I just did all of the nice things to myself. And then I just progressed through the Monday, and then he was born early hours the Tuesday morning. So it feels like at the time it was like, what am I going to do? I've got this and I've got that. But then at the same time, it went really quick.
Well, yeah, I was expecting to be there 2 weeks. I was back home within a week. I wouldn't have checked. The only thing I would have done, the only thing I would have asked for differently is everyone was like, they were amazing before you had the baby. In terms of support, like I always had someone on the end of the phone that I could ring. Because obviously I'd never done this before. Not only was I in a trust that I didn't know, I was in a place where I'd never been to before. Everyone thought I was nuts as it is. I just wish they were a little bit more supportive after, but you know, hopefully they've learned from that. But I remember, because I stayed in a hotel, as you know, and every time I went back to the hotel on those days, they were like, "Have she had the baby yet?" I wish they could have done like a documentary on that whole. I think they should like do it. So obviously you had a beautiful vaginal birth at home. You didn't really need anyone there, actually. I think I wasn't even there long. If you got pregnant again and there was no home birth service, knowing what it took away from your pregnancy, would you fight again?
It's really hard, because all that fighting got us the most amazing support at my birth. But it did take a lot, and it's a really hard question, and I just don't know. I don't know if I would do it all again. It was a lot. I mean, I spent many nights like awake and writing things down and being like, well, linking evidence to this, and you know, this is what the evidence is, and then being awake at 3 o'clock in the morning going, right, I'll quickly write that down to get it out of my head, and then spending days writing emails, then going back and checking that it was right and it had all the information that I wanted to get across. And it just was so much. I don't think I could. I don't know.
I think it affected you after, because you like so many people reached out to ask you to tell your story and you just weren't ready to talk. I think, do you think you felt a bit angry after that you had to, even though you got the most beautiful birth, that you had to actually put yourself through that to get it?
Yeah, definitely. I was angry that I felt like my pregnancy had been stolen.
Yeah, it's like I live in 2 worlds. I'm like, what a woman. And I thought you were going to say, yeah, absolutely. But in a way, I'm so glad that you said that, because for any women going out there now, it's not just one email. Like, if you could add up how many emails that went back and forth, what's a ballpark figure?
There's so many. Like, I was emailing birthrights and I was getting information from them. Then it was going to consultants, then it was complaining, then it was chasing, it was going to, I copied in the MPs, you know, and shouted about it to them. And
it's like 100 back and forth.
Like, if I look through my phone, there's just you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling all the emails.
Did you feel a little bit insane.
Yes.
Like, yeah, just like constantly like, I'm not giving up, and constantly exhausted. What did your family think? Did any of them tell you to just like stop and accept the fact that you're going to have to give birth in hospital?
So kind of, yeah. Kind of. It was like, well, you know, it's a lot, and I think they knew that it was taking a lot out of us as well, and they didn't, they didn't want to see us like that. They wanted
Yeah.
us to sit and relax and enjoy pregnancy, and I think that's what my immediate family found hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do get, I felt like at sometimes from every angle I was getting, well, just accept that you'll have to go into hospital. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You had a C-section before, you can have another one, and blah. And no, I didn't want that.
No. Were
That's
you
not
like
what I wanted.
are you like that in every other aspect of your life, or was it just this this feeling that you had a right to give birth at home, or are you just like that as a person anyway? Because you don't come across like that.
I think if there's something that I really, really believe is right for me
Mm.
and my children, then I will.
Yeah, well, clearly.
Right to the end. But yeah, I can get stuck on something if I think that's what's right and that's what I believe in. And it's not just me, it's all the other women out there that need to, they should have a choice, and that choice should be respected, it should be listened to, and it should be supported.
Well, you have made a difference, don't you?
Well, I hope so, but I don't like to think, well, yeah, but
Massive. And this podcast will make a difference as well. It just gives people hope. What would you did you feel an element of pressure to make sure this birth worked then when they commissioned, and because I haven't asked you this, so they commissioned me, they paid me, I flew up, you had me there. Did that add like an element of pressure of, oh my God, what if I don't birth at home now?
no, I don't think it did. And I don't know if it's because then the diagnosis of ICP got thrown in.
Yeah.
So that had that have not been thrown in, then I don't know if I would have felt a bit of pressure to make sure I was, I had them while you were here and stuff like that. I don't know. I think that ICP
Threw it out.
just
Yeah.
yeah, and was like, because then I remember saying to myself, I was like, right, do I just go in and do I just accept the induction?
You asked me that. You asked me, and I was like, fucking hell, no, not now. I'm here.
I know, and I don't know if that's just made everything just go. That's it. There you go, I'm coming now. Here I am, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, because even though we were like, I can't even tell the time. That's a joke. I always say I don't have a clock, even though you weren't on my timeline other than the 2 weeks, but I knew you weren't going to be that long the first time I ever met you, because it was every now and again you kept going. I was like, are you having Braxton Hicks, or are they really, really strong Braxton Hicks?
Yeah, just really strong Braxton Hicks all the way through.
Yeah. Like because obviously you've never worked with an independent midwife, so you didn't know, like, we follow the same guidance, we give you the same information as the hospital does, or as any NHS midwife, but we work for you ultimately. So we were having constant conversations about the risks, and then you were like, well, what will they do? Because I was looking at my phone last night, wasn't I, scrolling through, and you were like, well, will they allow me to go in the pool if I go into hospital? And I'm like, you don't have to go into hospital. That's just the guidance. So you literally had 4 days to flip your brain into, well, no, I don't actually need to do what they tell me to do. I can just do whatever. Because even when you were in early labor, so one of the big things with choleostasis is movements of the baby. So obviously that had planted a seed. And even when you were in early labor on the Monday, like 5 p.m., you were like, I haven't felt baby move. And I was like, if you're saying you haven't felt baby move, we need to go in and be, monitored. That's the guidance. And you were like, oh, I don't really want to. And I think so many women don't want to because they're fearful that they will then be led into a cascade of interventions. And that was definitely yours. But we went in anyway, brilliantly, and they obviously knew all about you because you were famous and they knew who I was. and they sent over this newly qualified midwife, bless her. And we were like, yeah, no, she doesn't want anything. She just wants to know that baby's okay. And you were contracting like bilio at that time. And they mentioned that you were contracting like bilio, and then turned around and asked if you wanted an induction of labour. You're already in labour. But it's just that mentality. If you hadn't gone down the route of having me, would have you stayed in and got induced? Because that's what they told you to. Bet you haven't even thought of that, have you?
I haven't, no. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done. I don't know if I would have just, I don't know.
It's really hard, isn't it? When someone's telling you, and you're in labour and you're trying to work out what's safe. But you've got to do that while you're actually in labour. You're uncomfortable. You've planned, you've done all of this. Yeah, it's really hard not to get. I don't know how anyone does it. And obviously I have worked in the NHS for 15 years, and I just think, God, women coming in, and I think back to the women I've looked after, and they come in and they literally put so much trust and faith in us, and whatever we say at that time can just make such a big difference. It's mad, isn't it? So there's going to be loads of women out there watching this, with the amount of home birth services shutting down, and obviously you've seen in the news all the bullshit about normal birth is an ideology, blah blah blah. Someone's out there like you fighting for a home birth. What's the advice you'd give them if they want to go down the route that you did?
And just keep fighting, because they can do it, and they will do it, because I'm sitting here and they have done it, and they've done it for other women up and down the country, and it can be done. You've just got to push and keep pushing.
So from
it's hard.
Pregnant up to 39 weeks on the dot, that's when you got your answer. And there's women out there at 36 weeks pregnant now finding out that there's no home birth service. It's just mad when you put it into that context. Like, they genuinely probably haven't got time because of how long it took you and the amount of emails that you had to send back and forth.
Maybe they just need to find the suits and go straight to the suits. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you just quickly, I know we mentioned Birthrights UK, but just touch on them again. They're fantastic. So I spoke to them. I did a live with them, didn't I, to talk?
Yeah.
You weren't ready.
Oh, they were amazing. They provided so much support.
Yeah.
And they give us like pointers how to do it, and kept in touch with me that whole journey until even after I had him, and they knew about my ICP diagnosis, and they were like, oh, what's happened? And then by the time I got to email them back, I was like, oh, it doesn't matter, I've had him. I had him at home. It was amazing. It was brilliant. Thank you so much for all of your support.
They're amazing.
But yeah, they were great, and I don't know, I just can't, they were amazing. They were amazing.
Can you just explain, because they're a charity? So Birthrights UK are a charity. I think some people out there may think that they do all the work for you. So just explain what they actually did for you.
So they come back to me sort of just to give us pointers on what I should add in the email, who I should potentially email, and who I should, shout at, include. So they were suggesting that me copying the MP, go to PALS, and the chief exec, and you want to add like why, reference your is it Article 8 of the Human Rights? Yeah. I referenced that. I put a couple of different links in about home birth and how it was safe, and a mother's choice, and we'll get the right to choose. Pushing their own guidelines back onto them, really.
Yeah, but everything come from you.
And then they sort of supported us in the background as well with it, and we're kept in touch throughout the whole pregnancy. And always, if there's anything else you need, just drop us an email. Yeah, and they kept right in touch. And then I'd messaged them about I'd had the diagnosis, and it's through a spanner in the works. And then, a few days later, was here.
He was. He absolutely was. Did you want to add anything? I think I've covered everything, but it's your story. I know we're not talking about your birth story because that was just so quick. And it's all over my Instagram anyway. It was mainly for women out there who were in your situation. Because obviously we both know that it can be done, even though emails that we had, because I'm tagged into emails we had back the other day were like, yeah, we're not providing that service. Women have to just come to the hospital, which is rubbish, as we know. So is there anything that we've kind of missed out that you think that they should be aware of?
I don't think so. I think it was a lot of fighting, and it did take a lot. But
Yeah.
I got the most amazing outcome that I could have ever wished for. Like I couldn't have asked for anything more. Like someone flew like 300 miles. Like what? But it can be done, and it has been done, and it's still being done. Like, and if you want it, then fight for it.
Fight for it.
Mm-hmm. Like I believe that that's what was right for me and my child, and I fought to the end to get it. And I knew that all the time I was going, right, well, I'll give it one last shot and I'll send one last email. And I don't think I could have settled until I'd done as much as I can before I sat back and right, well, I can't physically do anymore.
Yeah.
To help myself.
One last question before I ask you three. I know the answer to this because we spoke about it. Would have you free birthed if they didn't commission me?
Probably,
yeah. And that's the situation that everyone is in at the moment. I'm not averse to free birth. I'm not pro free birth. I'm nothing. Free birth, you do you. 100%. I can totally understand the dilemma when someone just absolutely does not want to go to that hospital environment for whatever reason. And free birth is there's so much research out there now to say it is safe and you're well within your right. But yeah, I knew your answer because we'd spoken.
So I wanted to be supported at home,
yeah.
But in the background, because I didn't know that it was going to happen and it wasn't a guarantee, that I did prep for a free birth in the background.
And what did you do for that? Just quickly, if you don't mind.
So I think it takes a lot of soul searching, I think, to be comfortable with that. So it took a lot to look from inside and to be really comfortable, and then what if this and what if that, and be comfortable that you're making that choice
for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You would have smashed it, by the way. Okay, so 3 questions. Number 1, what would you go back and tell your younger self? What advice would you give your younger self if you had the chance?
So, like teens, early 20s, I completely lived for the moment. And I think looking back now, I would say just keep your future in sight. Just have a little bit of a think about what your future looks like. I mean, living in the moment, yeah, great. I just think, oh, maybe should I have just had a little second thought in the background about my future, maybe.
No one's ever said that. That's really, normally people are like, oh, live for the moment, do this, do that. That's really interesting. Why? Do you think you would be in a different position now if you'd thought that?
Potentially different. But then on the flip side, would I be sitting here now?
Exactly. Yeah. I love asking that question because it's fascinating. I've never had an answer where it's just like, oh, you can tell they've got that off ChatGPT. It really makes people think. What's one defining moment in your life?
I really struggled with this one.
Everyone does as well.
Because the birth of my first child obviously turned us into a mother.
Yeah.
But then becoming pregnant with me second has sent my life down a complete different path, and it has made me more in tune with myself, and it's just sent us. I've just become a different person since finding out I was pregnant with me second, and it's led us completely different. And yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to explain, but it's made us question everything, make different choices, and go down different paths that I never thought I would have went down. But I am confident in my decisions, and I feel, I don't know, more grown up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
More grown up, more but mother, more in tune with myself.
That makes complete sense to me as a midwife, because I always get asked, like, why do I love VBACs? Why do I love HBAC so much? And I'm like, watching a woman birth, I talked about on my Q&A, watching a woman birth is phenomenal, or I wouldn't be a midwife. But watching someone have a second pregnancy and birth when the first one didn't go to plan, whether it was by choice, you're never the same person. You always feel that extra bit powerful, as if like nothing is too hard. And because you fought all the way through your pregnancy as well, it's probably added that element of, well, I call it, it's your superpower, isn't it? Yeah. And you learn. Go on.
Sorry.
No.
I was going to say, I think whether my birth planned out, however it planned out, I think even doing all of that work in my pregnancy, that's took us down a completely different path.
Yeah. It's really hard to open yourself up like that. And because you
had to do a lot of soul searching. And I think then that just, I become in tune with who I am and what I want as a person and from my life. And, you know, yeah.
That's beautiful. That's lush. What is a film, a book, a podcast, or a movie, or a song that you think someone should listen to at least once in their life?
Why do you ask these really hot questions?
I do, and I love people like chat.
So you probably love this one as well, but I love, and I'm not going to say his surname right, Dr.
Gabor Mate. Gabor Mate.
Yes. I absolutely love him, and I could listen to him for hours. So anything, any podcast, any YouTube video, any book, he is, he's amazing.
I agree. I mention him on every single podcast for one reason or another. But so he is a physician. I think he's like over 80 now. And he said it's like human behavior. He's amazing. So everyone should watch him. Thank you so much. I would have said a year ago, I'll see you on baby number 3. But I'm not actually quite sure now. I think you're happy with your lot. You seem quite
Yeah, I am, and I'm content, and we've got like this perfect little family, and didn't know that he was. It's just a fit. He just slotted in, and that's that. And it's like he's been here forever.
It's because of how he birthed. It's like that Mother of Midwife's Cauldron podcast where they talk about the hormones and things like that. Have you heard it?
I listen to a lot of their podcasts.
I'm going to add the link to this, but I'll send it to you because then the tears will flow. It's like you've allowed him this passage to be birthed in a certain way, and it changes their personality, and it's all about the hormones. It's beautiful. I digress.
Then I never, all of them, your baby blues, like.
No, you didn't have
any. Waiting for them. Down the line.
It will just, that'll be when he's a teenager. You'll have it.
Yeah.
Have it tenfold. Thank you so much, my lovely. I will see you soon, and I'll send you the link when it goes out.
It's been lovely speaking to you.
Thanks for having us. Bye, lovely. See
Bye.
you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.